Hello world, Assalamu alaikum. This is Songlap News Now. Opinion: Egypt's resolve defying Trump's displacement plan. Daily News Egypt, February 17, 2025. Opinion: Egypt's resolve defying Trump's displacement plan by Ambassador Mohammad Orabi, former Foreign Minister of Egypt. The proposal was as audacious as it was alarming. In January, when US President Donald Trump suggested the forced displacement of Palestinians from Gaza into Egypt and Jordan, it was more than just a reckless remark. It ignited a political firestorm. The notion of uprooting an entire population and reshaping the region's demographic landscape drew immediate and widespread condemnation. For many, it represented yet another attempt to erase Palestinian identity and impose a new reality that serves only the interests of power politics, in blatant defiance of international law and historical justice. Egypt and Jordan responded swiftly with a resolute rejection. Cairo and Amman made it clear that any attempt to forcibly expel Palestinians would not only constitute a gross violation of international norms but also pose a direct threat to their own national security. They warned that such a move would inflame tensions, destabilize the region, and push an already fragile situation towards uncontrollable chaos. The Arab world too spoke with a unified voice. The League of Arab States strongly rejected any plans aimed at depopulating Palestinian territories, emphasizing that any just and lasting settlement must be based on mutual agreement and be in accordance with international legitimacy. Consequently, Egypt has intensified its efforts to present alternatives that reinforce Palestinian resilience, ensuring that no unjust scheme can undermine the future of their cause or threaten the stability of the region. Egypt's core principles regarding the Palestinian displacement proposal during a joint press conference with Kenyan President William Ruto in Cairo on Wednesday, January 29, 2025, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi unequivocally rejected Donald Trump's proposal for the forced displacement of Palestinians. He condemned the plan as an injustice in which Egypt will not partake. This stance reflects Egypt's unwavering foreign policy principles on the Palestinian issue, centered on the following key pillars: resisting attempts to undermine the Palestinian cause. From the outset of Israel's military campaign in Gaza, Egypt identified Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's strategy as an effort to exploit the conflict to undermine Palestinian national aspirations. In response, Cairo adopted a resolute position against collective punishment and firmly opposed any forced displacement of Palestinians into Sinai, recognizing that such a move would trigger a new Nakba, potentially erasing Palestinian identity and demographic presence. Egypt mobilized its diplomatic and security apparatus to mediate an immediate cessation of hostilities, underscoring that the ongoing offensive constituted a grave violation of Palestinian rights. In parallel, Cairo spearheaded negotiations for a prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas, securing the release of Israeli captives in exchange for a ceasefire, marking a critical breakthrough in de-escalation efforts, bolstering humanitarian assistance in Gaza. In response to the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza, Egypt implemented a comprehensive strategy to facilitate and delivery. Al Arish Airport in North Sinai emerged as a key logistical hub for receiving and dispatching international humanitarian aid to Gaza. Moreover, Cairo expanded supply routes via the Al Auja and Kerem Shalom crossings to ensure a sustained flow of critical supplies into the besieged enclave. Egypt also collaborated with regional and global actors, including Jordan and the UAE, to coordinate multiple humanitarian airdrops targeting northern Gaza, where access to aid was severely restricted. Significantly, on 13 February, Egypt successfully arranged the entry of mobile home units, a more viable and dignified alternatives to tents, providing temporary shelter for displaced Palestinians. Egypt's role and engagement with Palestinian factions. Egypt remains the principal mediator in all negotiations related to the Palestinian issue, leveraging its strategic geographic position and diplomatic influence. It has consistently played a decisive role in ceasefire agreements, prisoner swaps, and broader peace initiatives. Crucially, Egypt is the only Arab state maintaining open and direct communication channels with all Palestinian factions, including Hamas, owing to its historical security and political ties with these groups. Egypt's recent diplomatic moves. Egypt has intensified its diplomatic efforts to address the ongoing crisis in Gaza, firmly rejecting any proposals for the forced displacement of Palestinians while advocating for a sustainable resolution. Cairo has engaged in high level talks with regional and international partners to reinforce its stance and push for immediate humanitarian and political measures. Egypt Jordan coordination against displacement. February 12. On February 13, President Abdel Fattah al Sisi of Egypt and King Abdullah II of Jordan held a crucial phone call to discuss the latest developments in Gaza. Both leaders reaffirmed their rejection of any plan to forcibly displace Palestinians, emphasizing that such actions would violate Palestinian rights and destabilize the region. They underscored the urgent need for Gaza reconstruction while ensuring the Palestinian population remains in their homeland. Additionally, the two leaders stressed the importance of maintaining the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, securing the release of captives, and facilitating humanitarian and deliveries. Egypt postpones al Sisi's visit to Washington, a clear message to the US in a decisive move. Egypt indefinitely postponed President al Sisi's planned visit to Washington, signaling its strong opposition to recent US and Israeli rhetoric regarding Gaza. Cairo also firmly rejected suggestions that it allocates land to accommodate displaced Palestinians. The Egyptian government conveyed its displeasure over statements made by US President Trump concerning possible sanctions, demanding official clarifications from Washington. This diplomatic maneuver highlights Egypt's firm position in protecting Palestinian sovereignty and rejecting any external pressures that could alter Gaza's demographic landscape. Egyptian foreign minister's visit to Washington. Strategic talks with the US amid heightened tensions. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Atti visited Washington on February 10, where he held high-level discussion with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Abdel Atti reiterated Egypt's unwavering support for Palestinian rights and its rejection of any forced displacement. He emphasized that a just and lasting peace must be based on the two-state solution, ensuring Palestinians a right to establish an independent state. Egypt reaffirmed its commitment to coordinating with the US administration to end Israeli aggression, accelerate humanitarian relief efforts, and rebuild Gaza without altering its demographic structure. Egypt's diplomatic outreach strengthening the Arab position under President al-Sisi's directives. Foreign Minister Abdel Atti engaged in extensive consultations with his counterparts from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Jordan, Iraq, Algeria, Tunisia, Mauritania, and Sudan. These discussions focused on unifying the Arab stance against displacement plans, mobilizing international support for Palestinian rights, and addressing the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the West Bank. Egypt's call for de-escalation in the West Bank, Cairo, has also strongly condemned Israeli military operations in the West Bank, urging an immediate cessation of hostilities. Urging an immediate cessation of hostilities. Egyptian officials have stressed the need for urgent humanitarian measures, including unimpeded aid entry into Gaza and broader diplomatic efforts to contain regional instability. Egypt defying Trump's Gaza displacement plan. Daily News Egypt. Through these strategic diplomatic moves, Egypt continues to position itself as a key factor in regional stability. By rejecting forced displacement, leading reconstruction efforts, and engaging in high level negotiations, Cairo remains steadfast in its commitment to protecting Palestinian rights and ensuring a sustainable path towards peace. Upcoming Arab Summit, Egypt is set to host an emergency Arab Summit on February 27, aimed amid a pivotal moment in the Palestinian crisis. This summit comes as mounting warnings surface regarding US Israeli plans to forcibly displace Gaza's population, a move that threatens Palestinian rights and regional security. This high stakes gathering will test the Arab world's ability to formulate a unified response to one of the most pressing geopolitical challenges in decades. The urgency of decisive action. The current situation demands concrete decisions from Arab leaders rather than mere statements of condemnation. Many believe that US President Donald Trump's approach reflects an assumption that Washington can unilaterally dictate global affairs, underscoring the need for a strong and coordinated Arab reaction. The debate now centers how far Arab states are willing to go in countering these displacement plans and protecting Palestinian sovereignty. Strategic options on the table. Among the potential measures being considered is the suspension of the Abraham Accords and the normalization agreements between Israel and several Arab states. Additionally, there are discussions about the possibility of Arab countries withdrawing their ambassadors from Israel in protest. Egypt, a key regional player, has already hinted at reconsidering its peace treaty with Israel should forced displacement efforts proceed. Egypt, a key regional player, has already hinted at reconsidering its peace treaty with Israel should forced displacement efforts proceed. Such moves would represent a significant diplomatic shift, signaling a recalibration of Arab Israeli relations. In response to the crisis, the Riyadh Five Nation Summit, preparing a united Arab response before the broader Arab Summit, leaders from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE, Qatar, and Jordan are set to meet in Riyadh on February 20 to deliberate on a collective response to Trump's Gaza plan. This high level consultation will focus on developing a reconstruction proposal for Gaza, one that explicitly rules out any forced displacement of its residents. The meeting is expected to refine a strategy that will be presented at the larger summit in Cairo, ensuring that Arab states enter the negotiations with a cohesive and well-defined position, a defining moment for Arab diplomacy. The upcoming summit in Cairo is not just another diplomatic gathering, it is a moment of reckoning for the Arab world. The decisions made in these meetings will not only shape the future of the Palestinian cause but also define the Arab region's ability to assert its political influence on the global stage. Failure to take decisive action could embolden further unilateral moves by external powers, while a strong and united stance could reinforce the Arab world's role as a key stakeholder in the future of the Middle East. In conclusion, Egypt's firm rejection of the forced displacement of Palestinians underscores its commitment to regional stability, Palestinian sovereignty, and international law. Through decisive diplomacy and humanitarian efforts, Cairo has positioned itself as a key mediator in the crisis, working to prevent unjust demographic changes that threaten Palestinian national aspirations. The upcoming Arab Summit in Cairo presents a crucial opportunity for unified action where Arab states should translate condemnation into concrete measures. Potential diplomatic shifts, including reconsidering ties with Israel, could redefine regional dynamics. Egypt's proactive role in defining Palestinian rights and fostering Arab unity reaffirms its status as a stabilizing force in the Middle East. Ambassador Mohammad Orabi is the former foreign minister of Egypt. This is my voice over this news text published in the Daily News Egypt on February 17, 2025. Thanks for watching. Comment, share, and subscribe when you like. Thank you very much.